Miss Daniela, for our audience, could you please begin by introducing yourself?
Okay, so my name is Daniela Clapp, and I call myself vegan mom.
I'm Christina,
And what are you?
vegan girl.
She's the vegan girl, like in our videos. All right. And so you would like to know now about my background a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, so basically I was born and raised in Germany in a little town called Mainz, which is near Frankfurt. And I always loved music, classical music, and the piano in particular. And I always loved going to live concerts. And of course, in Germany, that is very easy to do because we have these beautiful churches and cathedrals and a theater, which is right in town. And so we can always walk to our concerts. And on Sundays, I loved listening to the organists play, our organs in Germany, in those German churches. There are these massive pipe organs. And I always loved listening to the organist on Sunday mornings and to the choir because they were always singing up in the loft. And it sounded like angels singing. And I myself, as a young girl, and as I was growing up, I was in a professional church choir and singing all the big masses and the John Passion and the Christmas oratorio by Johann Sebastian Bach. So I basically grew up with music. And the other thing that I liked doing is I liked hiking and nature. We have these beautiful forests in Germany. Christina, would you like to leave?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's better if she leaves because she gets too restless.
Yeah.
So I liked hiking in the German forests and in the pastures. Of course, my favorite animal is the horse. I loved animals and horses. So that's basically in a short version of my background.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Could you share with us a story of your musical journey background?
Yes. So, like I mentioned before, my dad would always take me to church on Sunday mornings, and I always loved listening to the organ and the organist and the choir singing. And then one Sunday morning, my dad had to talk to the minister afterwards, and we walked into one of the rooms of the church, and there it was, a big, grand piano. And I was just awestruck. Just looking at this magnificent instrument just really took my breath away. From that moment on, I decided that I wanted to be a pianist and a musician. And then shortly after that, I started taking private piano lessons.
How kind of your dad to support you in that way. It's inspiring to hear about Christina's musical achievements, especially her performances with a symphony orchestra. Would you be comfortable sharing more about her musical journey?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that we need to understand is that Christina has Down syndrome, and that comes with a lot of health challenges and intellectual disabilities. And the other piece of the puzzle is her dad, which was my husband, obviously. He was a very fine concert pianist. He studied at the Juilliard School of Music. He played with orchestras all around the country. He's played in Carnegie Hall. And well, unfortunately, he passed away 5 years ago. But Christina always heard my husband and I, so her dad and I play the piano and teach our students. And so when Christina was only 5 years old, she came to me and she said, "Mama, please teach me piano." And because of the intellectual disability, I didn't think that she could learn something as complicated as playing the piano. I taught her anyway. So I taught her little German songs. I taught her the right hand melody first, and then I taught her the left hand chordal accompaniments. And then I taught her, it was basically by route and by repetition. And then I taught her to put the hands together. And then whenever she had accomplished a piece, I made a little video of her playing the piano. And then I uploaded those to my YouTube channel. And then pretty soon after that, people from all around the world started contacting me, and they wanted to know how I was able to teach my child with Down syndrome to play the piano so well. And that was the catalyst for me and to start creating a piano program for children with special needs. And that piano program is called Music Transforms You. And it took me about 10 years to develop this program. And later on, I open it up to all children because, all children and all beginners can benefit from my piano program. And also, Christina got to play with youth symphonies because my older children, my son played cello and my daughters played violin. So they were in a youth symphony. And I asked the conductor, hey, can Christina play the Ode to Joy by Beethoven with you guys? And he said yes. And during one of the educational concerts, where they were busing in schools from 12 different districts, like thousands of children were in the church. And so they were listening to Christina play the piano with the orchestra. And then she got this roaring standing ovation. And they were so impressed that Christina could play the piano so well in front of so many people. And then later, Christina was invited to play the piano at an international music festival in South Korea. And there she represented the United States on piano and received a really big award at the end. So yeah, she got to play with orchestra twice and then at a big international music festival. So that's very special.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is
Yeah.
amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Daniela, okay, since your daughter left a little bit space empty, can you move to your right a little bit so we can center the screen? Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
What has been your experience on the transformative power of music in working with Alzheimer's patients and handicapped children?
Yeah. So as the saying goes, when words fail, music speaks. And music is the universal language, and it gives a voice to the voiceless. Also, during active music making, almost the entire brain is stimulated and engaged, which no other modality to mankind can accomplish. Like, you cannot accomplish this with dancing or sports, reading, writing, playing chess. During those activities, only a portion of your brain is engaged, but during music, almost your entire brain is engaged. My daughters and I, we used to perform at retirement homes where the clients were either had dementia or Alzheimer's, and they were kind of in their own world. But when we started singing Christmas tunes or familiar songs from the olden days, they suddenly came alive and the light came back on in their eyes and they started singing along and they remembered the words and the tunes and they acted like as if nothing ever happened, like they acted quote unquote normal again, like they were before they started having dementia and Alzheimer's. So that was a pretty big miracle to witness. And then The other experience that we had, I volunteered with my youngest daughter, my piano program at Christina's high school in the special needs department. Doing the music at the school was basically the highlight of the children's or the students' week. And it brought out their personalities and it gave them a voice. And also the one thing that really stood out to me is there were several students, they were in a wheelchair and their little bodies were completely pretzeled up and crippled. And they could really not do much. They were crying all day because they were in so much pain. But then I took their hands and moved them over the piano keyboard. And suddenly they started relaxing and they started stretching out their arms and they started smiling. And so for a moment in time, they stopped crying and they were smiling and they were happy. And they even tried singing and humming along. So that was pretty miraculous to witness that. And the children that had greater limitations, they were also able to bring out their personality more, and they discovered other abilities that they never thought they had. And so yeah, I would say I witnessed a lot of miracles during those sessions in the school where the students got to play the piano and they got to drum and they got to sing. It was really the highlight of their week. And that also kind of proves that music really is essential to life. Because when we look at the concentration camps during World War II, and when we look at 9/11, the way we came back to balance ourselves was through music. And this helps us to survive. And I believe that children who are involved in music making, they are more disciplined, they have higher scores in school, they are more respectful and just more dedicated. And it just really helps you to achieve anything in life, because music assists you to really achieve anything in life. It doesn't need to be music, it could be medicine or law or business. And people that are most successful in life, they always say, yes, I played an instrument in my youth. So yeah, that's basically what music can do. It's miraculous.
That's incredible because it teaches you how to focus, and with that comes success. Oh,
Right.
amazing. Please tell us about how sound can be made visible through the cymoscope, and what are the healing implications of the piano notes' beautiful patterns?
Okay, so the cymoscope is the first scientific instrument that is able to make sound visible. And John Stuart Reid, he is an English acoustics engineer, and he was the first one to use cymatics and to make sound visible. And cymatics is basically the process of making sound visible. Like, for example, you can pour a bunch of sand on a metal plate, and then you take a violin bow and strike it to the side of the plate, and then the random sand pieces will organize themselves into these beautiful patterns. When you play the piano, the molecules around you will organize themselves into these beautiful spheres. So that means when you are actively playing an instrument, you are surrounded by sheer beauty. And it means that you can create form out of nothingness, and you can create order out of chaos. And I would like to put a parallel. I would like to say that God spoke the universe and everything in it into existence with his word and with the vibration of his word. And so, in other words, that shows us that music and words and vibration, they can create form out of nothingness. And God created order in our universe through his voice. And so everything that is beautiful has order to it. So when you look at flowers, or when you look at the constellation of the stars, or even our own personal cells, they are finely tuned and structured. And that means that God himself has put all that structure inside of us. And since God created us, he is the conductor of our symphony, because all the cells in our body, they vibrate and they sing. Each cell has its own little tune, and all the cells, they sing to each other. And God is the one who basically has created that symphony inside of us. And a lot of people, or a lot of us, we have, we're dealing with illness or inner chaos. And the reason why a lot of people are sick is because they're disrespecting God's laws and the laws of nature. And also, I believe a lot of people are sick because they're eating animals and animal products, because God never created the animals to be our food. He created the animals to be our companions. I wanted to quickly read in Genesis 1, verse 29. It says, so here I'm having my Bible, and it says, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. So basically it says that the Garden of Eden was vegan, Jesus was vegan, and God is going to restore this, or his earth, to veganism. And God has really given us everything that we need. He's given us the plants to eat. He's given us herbs for healing. So there is no reason to eat animals or to test on them for makeup, household items, and for medicine, because we don't need the synthetic medicine. We can use God's medicine, which is free. So basically, when we are disobedient to God, then we become sick, and the cells in our body start singing out of tune. And that's when the symphony in our body becomes out of tune and starts falling apart. But when we obey God's word, and we obey the laws of nature, and we eat the life-giving plants, then our cells can heal themselves and sing in tune again, and we have a beautiful symphony again, which means we're having vibrant life. So that is basically my take on cymatics, and the symphony and the conductor is God himself.
I love your holistic viewpoint, Ms. Daniela. It gives us such, it makes me feel so nice to think that all my cells are singing to each other. How does your belief affect your music, or life?
Yeah. So I'm a Christian, and I believe that God created the universe. He created us, he created the animals, he created music. And like the German composer Johann Sebastian Bach so eloquently said, music is to be performed to the glory of God and for the enlightenment of our spirit. And I really love Bach's music and his attitude toward it. And I also believe that our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And we have to respect that. Instead of making it a tomb for dead animals, we need to make it a temple for God and eat good food and listen to good music and exercise. And, God has given us everything, like the sunshine. He told us to sleep and to rest. And he gave us beautiful music. He gave us really everything. If you just respect God and his laws, then your life is going to be greatly affected by that. And you're going to have a much better life. And that's how veganism really affects your life and your music, because you're operating at a higher level and a higher vibration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are a vegan. Can you tell us how you first stopped eating meat and then transitioned to becoming a vegan?
Yes. So every summer, my parents and I, we would visit, and all my siblings and I, we would visit my grandparents' farm. And my grandparents had a lot of farm animals, and I made friends with one of the pigs. I was reading books to him, and I was always talking to him. And he was so cute. He was always grunting at me with his cute little nose and listening to all my little stories. He was very patiently standing there and really looking at me and listening to me. But then one day, my grandfather put him in the middle of the yard and he killed him right in front of me. I mean, I was begging for his life to be spared, but of course, my grandfather said, no, he's here to make sausage for us. And that's when I first made the connection. I'm like, oh my gosh, the salami I've been eating all this time comes from my friend, the pig. And I was just absolutely mortified. And then the next horrible experience that I had on this farm, my grandmother started chasing the chickens. She caught one. She put the head on a tree stump and took an axe, hacked the head off. And then she started ripping out all of its feathers. And then she said, oh, we're making chicken noodle soup tonight. And that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, this is these little white pieces in my chicken noodle soup were the flesh of my chicken friends. So from that moment on, I stopped eating the meat. I refused to eat it. I would only eat like the potatoes and the rice and the bread and the vegetables, but I refused to touch the meat. But then when we came back home, my parents were really worried that I would be protein deficient. And they were like, well, our meat grows on trees, so you can eat it again. And of course, I was just a little child and I trusted and believed my dad. So I thought, oh, if our meat grows on trees, it doesn't come from animals, I can eat it again. So I started eating meat again until I became older and became aware that animals don't grow on trees and they're born and they're sentient beings. And the bigger my awareness became, the more I became vegan. Like, for example, I never even knew that leather is the hide or the skin of a cow. I never knew that. And the more I became aware, the more I started following the vegan lifestyle. Like, I stopped eating the meat and I stopped eating all the animal products. Then I stopped using household items or makeup items that were tested on animals, and basically living a holistic lifestyle and leaving a lighter footprint on the planet. So that's basically how I became a vegan.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh, the things parents do out of love, to get their children to eat meat because they think it's good for them. How does the vegan lifestyle benefit you? Does it benefit your music performance in any way?
So I would say it benefits me in many ways. The first one is I have a clear conscience that I'm not contributing to animal cruelty and that I'm leaving a lighter footprint on the planet. And it also benefits me because I have a lot of energy, probably more than most teenagers do even. You know, a lot of teenagers are always like, I'm so tired. I'm like, come on, you're only 18. Why are you tired? And I would also say that I have relatively good physical strength, so I don't need any help with opening jars, or I'm not helpless, you know, because I feel like I work out and I have some strength. And another really great benefit is that we're almost never sick, which is nice. But of course, we still live in a fallen world where everything is so polluted, and it's hard to protect yourself from all the poisons that are even being introduced to our organic food with this new appeal stuff, for example. So it's really hard to protect yourself from all the invisible poisons that they're putting all over the planet and into the atmosphere. But we're doing our best to eat clean food that is, you know, plant-based. We make sure we have good water, and we exercise, and we try to get sunshine, and just live a life that is promoting good health. So I would say, but as far as musical expression goes, musical expression really depends on your personal background. And in order to express yourself musically on an instrument, you have to have great technique and a great command over the instrument, which takes years and years and decades of practice. So no, you cannot become a vegan and say you're going to be concert pianist tomorrow. That doesn't work that way. So the only thing I could say about how veganism benefits your musical performance is you could have more endurance to practice longer, and to maybe have a clearer mind on how you want to execute certain passages and how you want to convey it to the audience. But I have heard some great piano playing from some carnivores as well. So I cannot say that vegans play the piano better than carnivores. It doesn't work that way. But I can say that you probably don't get as tired as easily during your practice, and you also don't get as tired during concerts, and I would say you have more focus. So that could be a great benefit.
Absolutely. Honest answer. Honest answer. Truth. That you speak truth. May we know why you have chosen the vegan lifestyle for your daughter as well? How is her health?
Okay, so obviously I know the benefits of veganism. So all my children have to be vegan. So well, they don't have to be, but I mean, there is never any animal products in my home. And they also know the benefits of the vegan lifestyle. And Christina's health with her Down syndrome in and of itself poses great health challenges. She had to have open heart surgery when she was only 5 months old. And the overexpression of that 21st chromosome, you know, instead of having 2, she has 3 21st chromosomes, which gives her that, you know, that Down syndrome look and the shorter stature and smaller nasal and ear passages. So she has, you know, a compromised health because of that. But because we are vegan and we're living, you know, a good lifestyle, she is super healthy and she is slender. You know, I know so many individuals with Down syndrome that are so overweight, and so are their parents, and so are so many people in the world. And that's because they're eating fast food, processed food, animal products. They're just real gluttons, you know. But Christina is agile, she's slender, she's very healthy, and she's happy. So I would say the vegan lifestyle really could benefit anyone, especially those with health challenges and disabilities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is your recommendation on parents on how parents can show or educate their children where meat comes from?
the one thing that I would recommend is take your child to an animal sanctuary and explain to them that animals are vulnerable and that they deserve our protection. And they need to be protected from evil humans, like especially those that are in the farm and factory industry, or the farm and slaughter industry. And also explain to them what vegan really means. Explain to them that it means that we don't consume anything that comes from an animal, and that we are just eating whole plant-based foods. And also, being vegan is a very powerful way to stand up for animals and to tell these evil industries, hey, I'm not going to give you my money to torture and murder these animals. You know, stay away from me. So it's a great way to stand up for animals. And honestly, it is really important to just be blunt with your children, you know, just tell them where it really comes from. And there might be some tears and they might cry, but it's important to tell them the truth. Also, I have created a booklet that's called Once Upon a Time There Was a Mama Pig. And it talks about a little pig family that lives on this beautiful little farm, but one day they get picked up and sent to a slaughterhouse. And then from there, I explain how the mom is put into this metal cage, and the little piglets get their tails cut off, and one piglet gets slammed to the floor and it dies. And because the reader has been so pulled in and to identify with this little pig family, of course, they feel very, very sad when these bad things are happening in the slaughterhouse to these little piglets. But then 3 of the piglets in the end get rescued and get taken back to the farm, who has been turned into an animal sanctuary. So it has a little bit of a happy ending. But to give a donation toward my booklet would be a great way to get my booklet, and they can read it to their children, even though it's not written for children, but it can be read to children. And that way they can, in a nice, beautifully illustrated way, explain to their children what happens, for example, to pigs in slaughterhouses. And with their donation, it helps me to give to animal sanctuaries and to support them, and to also keep supporting my business to you know, keep the lights on and to keep advocating for animals, because it does take money to do that. For example, when you take a little child and put a child in a playpen, and you put a bunny and an apple in a playpen with the child is going to eat the apple and play with the bunny. It's not going to eat the bunny. So that right there proves that children are naturally vegan. We as humans, we're naturally vegan, but we're just being, because of tradition and because we're being forced and we're being brainwashed into thinking we need to eat animal products to have enough protein, to be healthy. But then you have to ask yourself, where do the biggest and strongest animals get their protein from? Like the elephant, the rhino, and the gorilla. I mean, they don't eat animals, they get it from plants. So duh, you know, you can get your protein from plants as well.
Thank you for pointing that out. We're so brainwashed, like you say. The most obvious facts are just we're just so disconnected.
And
How does
can I read one more thing? So
yes.
there is another Bible verse. So in Proverbs 22:6, it says, bring up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it. So if we teach children at a young age to protect animals and to care for them, and show them the evil that's going on in the world, then hopefully they will be ambassadors for good and for the animals, and make a statement. You know, it takes a lot of people to make a statement, because, you know, those slaughterhouse industries, they could easily make money by turning their slaughterhouse into a farm, like a vegetable farm or a cotton farm or something. And they would make just as much money, because there are already farmers that have said, well, I just can't take my animals to slaughter anymore. And they have made a sanctuary out of their cattle farm, and now they're selling vegetables. It's possible. People just are too greedy or too brainwashed or evil. I would say it's demonic. You know, a lot of that stuff is really, really satanic and demonic, and Satan really has a grip. And I believe that's why it's continuing.
Yes. It's also, you know, the animal industry, they don't make any money if they're not subsidized by the governments.
Yeah.
How does a vegan lifestyle contribute to changing the world for the better for all of its inhabitants?
So I would say meat consumption has a big consequence on our world. Like, just think of the Amazon rainforest. It's being cut down at an alarming rate, and because they're trying to make room for cattle to be grazing on the cut down rainforest, or they're growing crops to feed the cattle. And those crops, they should really be feeding the children in the third world. And because they're starving and they're dying every day, but instead we are so selfish and so greedy that we're using that food that could be for the children in the third world, and we're feeding it to the cows that we want to eat. So that is a great impact. And also, growing so many animals for meat production causes a lot of pollution on this planet. And that, of course, is not good at all. And the other thing is, like I've said before, it is just evil. It's demonic. And the way we treat mother animals, I truly believe it contributes to sex trafficking of girls and boys even. And we also have to think about the slaughterhouse workers themselves. Many of them are being forced to do it. Either they are prisoners, or they're illegal immigrants, or they're so poor and so uneducated that they can't find work anywhere else. So these slaughterhouse workers have to kill 100 animals in an hour. Now, can you imagine what it does to their psyche? I mean, these people become psychologically so unstable that they become a danger to our society. I mean, we shouldn't be wondering about why we have drive-by shootings, or why people walk into schools and start plowing down and shooting children. I mean, look at what we're forcing a lot of people to do because of our selfishness. And yeah, those slaughterhouse workers, they go home, they beat up their wives and their children, and then they go into society and become a danger to society. So yeah, I feel like it is just bad for the environment. And of course, when you watch these videos of these poor animals being so tortured and so abused, it is just unspeakable. It's unimaginable cruelty and pain, and that should never be, because we as humans, we naturally have empathy and sympathy, but it's being beaten out of us by some very evil people at the top of governments and society because of greed. Because those people, I believe they're in cahoots with the devil himself. So yeah, eating animals has a huge impact on our world. And like I said before, God created the animals to be our companions, not to be our food.
That's right. Thank you for making that connection to violence in society as well.
Yeah.
As people don't, that's not a clear connection to many people too. Please share with us what you offer in terms of teaching others how to cook vegan.
Okay. So I have created a 30-day program that is called Back to the Garden of Eating. So instead of Eden, I said eating. And it is a 30-day program for women because I feel women are very powerful and strong, and they can greatly influence their own family, their children, their husband, and their friends. So women have a very powerful, long reach. You know, even if you look at the women in the Bible, you know, they were amazing. And so I created this program for women, and it is based on 5 pillars. So 5 pillars, but one of the pillars is recipes. So I teach you how to veganize your favorite foods, and I give you proven recipes, the recipes that I have been using for years and years that are really yummy and delicious, and they really work. So that is one way how I can contribute toward someone else going vegan. And if you want to find out about it, you can go to my website. Would you like me to give the address of my website?
Please do.
Okay, so it is www.vegan-mom.com. And there you can find my services, and you know, there is a link where you can make an appointment with me so we can chat and talk about it.
Great. Thank you for this very important service. What is your current project? Do you have any near-term or long-term plans?
So yeah, like I said before, I have created this little booklet called Once Upon a Time There Was a Mama Pig. And it is a beautifully illustrated booklet. And if you give a donation, I don't know yet because we just finished it, and I still need to figure out, you know, printing costs and shipping costs. And so we have to figure out how much of a donation we will ask for. But anyway, so that is a project that just got finished, and people can donate and get the booklet. So that is one of the projects. The other project, like I just mentioned, is my 30-day program for women, where they can, you know, learn how to gradually transition to the vegan lifestyle. And let me see. Oh yeah, and my long-term project is I would like to open up a small animal sanctuary deep in the Appalachian or Smoky Mountains. And of course, I need funds to buy the land, to put structures on there, like stables and enclosures, so the animals can have freedom to roam.
Opening a sanctuary is a lovely idea.
Yeah, the animal sanctuary, I'm so excited about that.
Oh, wow. Yes, yes. Can you repeat that?
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So my long-term project is I would like to open up an animal sanctuary deep in the Appalachian or Smoky Mountains. And of course, I need to buy the land, and I need to build structures, like I need to build stables and enclosures for the animals, and I need to build a house so we can live there and take care of the animals. And yeah, I need to basically find a way to raise a lot of funds through my services, obviously, not just, you know, give me money randomly. No, I will give you something in return. And yeah, that is my dream, to have an animal sanctuary. And I also want to have a little healing center where maybe mostly for women, I would say, because I feel drawn to giving my services to women. but where women or families can come for maybe like a week. And I would like to hire a vegan chef and, show them the animals and go on hikes and teach them all about, everything that I teach in my piano program, just a little bit more condensed in a 5 or 7 day week.
It would be something like
that's basically my long-term project.
it would be like a retreat you'll be offering.
Yeah, it will be like a retreat, yes.
Oh, wow. And lastly, do you have a message for our global viewers, Miss Daniela?
Yes, so my message is go vegan for the animals and go vegan for your health and for your family's health. And also go vegan because it is God's will for humanity. And my last message would be, if you need some assistance or some help with transitioning into the vegan lifestyle, you can contact me through my website, which again is www.vegan-mom.com. And we can talk and chat about how I can help you go vegan with your whole family.
And be healthier and happier than ever. Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Daniela. Do you want her to play the piano at all? It's just so tempting. It's right there.
But you can watch my videos.
Thank you so much, Miss Daniela. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Those were such thoughtful answers. Raising Christina so beautifully. I'm going to pass it back
Thank you
to.
for giving me the opportunity to talk with you guys and get the message out there, and I'm hoping that I'm hoping I wasn't too serious, because when I concentrate on what I'm saying, I get so serious.
Oh, no. Some topics needed this seriousness. You were perfect. You were perfect. Our cameraman here is just going to speak with you briefly. What a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you.
Hello, Daniela. Thank you so much. It's very insightful information from a mom, from perspective of vegan mom here, and raising a kid, and it's amazing what you do, and that's why a lot of people contact you and try to find out how did you taught your daughter learn all that skills, and it's amazing that she grow up with your teaching, with your coaching, and then she even perform internationally, more than any other ordinary children. And then she's an angel, and you are an angel for her too. Okay, you are both an angel, and thank you so much.